Okay, well, I think we might as well get started. I'd like to welcome you to the Keeping Current, Keeping Alert Researcher Workshop Series. My name's Marie Spear. I'm a librarian at the Sciences and Technology Library. And also presenting today is Vicki Albrecht. And Vicki, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm also work in the Sciences and Technology Library. Marie will be primarily presenting today. I will be doing a couple of demonstrations. I will be also monitoring your questions. So if you do have questions, you can put it into the question box and I will answer them as best I can. And just to also be aware, the session is being recorded and it will be posted to the University of Manitoba Library's YouTube channel. And another housekeeping item, if you would like a copy of the PowerPoint slides that we're presenting today, in the handout section of the session, you will see a PDF copy. So you can download the PDF immediately. So I will pass it on to Marie, who will take us through the first aspect of this session.
Okay, thank you, Vicki. I think I'm just going to highlight the control panel that you should see on the right-hand side of your screen. And this is where you can control the audio. So if you're having trouble connecting to audio, make sure that the settings are correct for your speakers and your mic. You should be muted right now. We'll just primarily focus on the putting questions into the chat. And so the question box is where you would be entering any questions that you have for Vicki or I. And as Vicki mentioned, the slides are available for download from the handouts area of the control panel. So today we're going to be looking at 3 different options for keeping current with the literature and learning the advantages and disadvantages of each option and learn how to set up alerts. So first off here, we're kind of wondering if any of you are creating any alerts, and we have a poll that Vicki is going to turn on to get, and you can answer if you've created any alerts or what kind of alerts you have used. So Vicki, do you want to share those results now? So it looks like some of you have already done some alerts, created some alerts for different types, table of contents, topic, author, cited article, but a lot of you haven't. So, I mean, that's the purpose of this workshop. So we just wanted to get an idea of what experience you have in the alerts. I think I'm going to turn off my webcam now to preserve the bandwidth and get me off the screen. So today we're going to be looking at information on the types of alerts that you can create, and we'll have a demonstration of one database that you can use to create alerts, and then go into a few other alert options. So there are different types of delivery options for alerts. We're primarily focusing on the email and apps options today. Email is fairly easy to set up and they're automatically sent to you. The only problem is that your email might get overloaded and you might lose track of your alerts. The apps that we have available are separate from email and you get notified primarily within the device. The ones that we are talking about today are available to you from the University of Manitoba Libraries. You have access to the apps that we mentioned, so there's no cost. But it may not be available for all of the operating systems possibly that you may have access to. And another type of delivery mechanism is RSS feeds, and we're not really going to go into that option too much, but we will provide some more information at the end of the slides if you want to look into it. A lot of the alerts that you get may not provide direct access to the full text journal articles. So you might get an email, but then when you are trying to click on the link to get to the article, you won't be able to get to it. So one option is, if you haven't already installed the Library Access browser extension, we'd recommend that you would install that into your browser. And we have some links here to kind of how it works. And you would download it from this Lean Library website, and then you'll see this kind of pile of green books in your browser bookmarks bar. So when depending on how you have it set up, you'll either get a pop-up, or if we have access to the article, it will automatically reload the page so that you can access it. So if you have any questions about using that Library Access browser extension, you can always contact Vicki or I after the session, and we'll be glad to help you out. We've got quite a few slides to go through, so we're not going to demonstrate this particular feature, but it is quite useful. And you can also use it for other things, like searching Google Scholar and getting full text from Google Scholar or even PubMed. If you get an alert and we don't have full text for the item, you can also use document delivery to request it. That's a free service from the libraries. And the link below is a link to the form that the page where you would fill out the request form. So you can always request anything that you don't have access to from the libraries for free. And we'll try our best to get it for you. So we're going to be looking at 3 different options for keeping current: table of contents alerts, database alerts, and cited article alerts. So we'll start with the table of contents alerts. And these are very quick and easy to set up. So you would identify a key journal in your field that you want to be notified about when something new has been published. So you would use these to keep on top of the trends in your field, and you don't even have to have a subscription to the journal in many cases. So if we don't have a journal that you need or you like to keep track of, you can still get the table of contents alerts and then use document delivery to get the articles. The drawback of using table of contents alerts is that all the articles may not be of interest or relevant to your area of research. And you don't want to set up a lot of table of contents alerts, just because it will be hard to keep on top of all of the alerts that you're getting and all the articles you will find. You are often asked to create a separate account, but that's also true of almost all the alerts. You basically have to have an account for every type of alert that you create. So you would go to the publisher's website, and you would find some options on doing an alert, being notified of new issues. We're not going to go into an example because there's so many different publishers, but you can see a video on how you would do it in Science Direct. After you get this slides and access them, you can see how you would set it up in Science Direct to give you an idea. If you have any questions after you've had a chance to try this out on your own and you have any problems, please let Vicki or I know, and we'll be glad to help you out. Another option is to use the browsing app, which is something that we purchased on behalf of the University of Manitoba. And you can put this app on your iPad, Android tablet, your phone. There's also a web version, and it allows you to browse journal table of contents. You can view articles, and you can save those articles to reference management programs like EndNote, Mendeley, Zotero, or RefWorks, but we don't have access to RefWorks. Information on browsing is available at the browsing website, just browsing.com. And there's a video that we have a link to that you can also view on your own. Here's a screenshot of what, I think this might be from the website, but it is similar kind of principle on the tablet or iPad. You can create bookshelves where you put the main, your journals that you want to follow, and you can put them in different categories. So for instance, we have here biology on one shelf and library journals on another shelf. And you can have several shelves and several bookcases. And if you would create an account in browsing, and then anything that you look at, say on an iPad, will be synced. Anything that you do will be synced to the website, browsing website, so that you can access the browsing journals from multiple devices. You can also see the red circles, or kind of oval shapes above the journals, and those indicate that there are some issues or articles that you haven't looked at yet. So anytime there's something new, it will show up with these red indicators, and so that gives you an indication that there's something new in those journals that I can look at. Now I'm going to ask Vicki, because she's used browsing a little bit more than I have, if she has anything that she would want to add about browsing.
The only thing I want to add about browsing itself is that when these new articles become available to you, the app doesn't notify you about that. So you do have to go into the browsing app itself to check periodically about that. The other thing to note is that it will show you the full PDF of most of the articles immediately, and it works with our subscriptions. So what you're seeing in the browsing library is access to the journals that we have subscribed to through the libraries for U of M.
Yes, thanks. I forgot about mentioning that, Vicki. So the other app that might be of interest to those of you in the health sciences is the Read app, and you can use it on an iPad, iPhone, Android tablet, or online, and access full text medical papers. It's has a few different features that aren't available in browsing. For instance, you can sign up for topic alerts, the established topic alerts that are already set up on the device, and also set up keyword alerts. And you can share citations via social media and email and annotate them and organize them. So that's another app, but that's specifically for people that are working in the medical field. Another type of app, or another type of alert, is a database alert. And so we're going to go into different options that are available for the databases that we have. So we have several databases, or hundreds of databases, that you can use to find journal articles. And you can use those databases to create alerts. So database alerts allow you to have specific type of search options that focus on the areas that you want. So you don't have to spend a lot of time sorting through your results. And you might get a few more details about the articles before viewing the full text, like author keywords and main features of the article. So to access a database, you would use one of the databases on the University of Manitoba Library Databases A to Z list. And you can access that from the main libraries page. So you can, if you're not sure what databases are available in your subject, there is an option to browse based on subject from that list. Another option is to go to the library's subject guides and find your subject area, and on those subject guides there will be recommendations for databases in your area. Most of the databases that are on that database A to Z list are not available for free, so you need to access it through that library website list, the library databases A to Z list, in order to gain access to it. The advantage to doing a database alert is that you can search for articles from multiple journal sources. Some of the databases can cover thousands of journals, so you set up an alert and you can be alerted from those journals very easily. So you can also narrow it to a very specific topic, and it also will allow you to save your time. So before we continue on, we have another little poll that we wanted to see what databases you have used. And so if I get Vicki to launch that poll. Okay, are you sharing the results, Vicki?
Yes, you should see it on your screen, Marie.
Okay, my screen looks a little different than other people's screens. So it looks like a lot of people are using PubMed, and lots of people are using Google Scholar, but there's a good variety of use of some of the other databases. We can only put 5 things into the poll, so we didn't have a chance to ask for anybody else's database. So we just tried to pick ones we thought might be of the key ones, key databases that might be of interest. So we're going to be focusing on setting up an alert in the Scopus database for the most part, but the features that are available in Scopus are available in other databases. So, and we have some links to videos from the other databases that you can look at. If you can't, after this presentation, if you can't figure out how to use set up an alerts in the database that you use primarily, please contact Vicki or I, and we'll be glad to help you out. So in a database, you can set up an alert, and you will be sent an email if there's any new sources that match your search criteria. Database search alerts can be set up for topics, authors, journals, or even institutions or research affiliations. Maybe there's a key researcher or there's a key university that does research in an area, and you want to see what they're doing and be informed of anything new. You could set up an alert for that. And some of the databases allow you to set up a cited article alert, so that anytime that article is cited, you're notified. To do the database alert, you need to create a personal account within that database. So the topic search alert is more focused than a table of contents alert. It's flexible. You can usually choose how often you want to be alerted. You can set up multiple alerts, and you can change your search criteria, delete them, adjust it as your interests change. It's not really a drawback, but creating a good search is essential to getting the articles you want and the success of the alerts. You don't want to get too many articles that are not of interest, and you don't want to make it so narrow that you never receive any alerts, or you maybe only get one alert every 6 months or something. So creating a good search is essential. And if you need any help with search strategies, we recommend that you contact your liaison librarian in your subject field, who can help you with doing more advanced search that allows you to get at the articles that you're interested in. So you want to make sure you're not searching too broadly. So there are ways to add more terms into your search to narrow your search. You should always add synonyms for all of the keywords that you're searching for. And you could use the Boolean operators like or to connect your synonyms. So if you're not familiar with a Boolean operator or and how you would use it, again, you can ask Vicky or I at the end of the session, or contact us later, or contact your liaison librarian. Then what I would do is do your search and gauge out how many articles you tend to get. You might look at how many articles did you find in the last year in that database on that topic. And if you get too many, then you might want to narrow it down a little bit more. Or if you don't get very many, then you might want to add more synonyms or add broader terms into your search. Okay, I wonder if oh yeah. Sorry, I've got it, skipping ahead here. So I thought we were going to do our Scopus demo now, but I think we have a few more slides before that is taking place. So I also like to talk a little bit about cited article alerts, because you can do these in a couple of the databases that we have. And this is beneficial to keep track of a key article in your field. So you want to be notified anytime anybody cites that article, because they might also be working in the same area. Or you might just want to keep track of articles that you have published and you want to know if anybody else is citing them. So this is useful for monitoring research being done in an area. And you may find different types of articles than you would find by doing a topic search. However, there's sometimes more than one reason for articles, why people cite an article, and so sometimes they might not be always directly related to your area of research. Now, before we do the Scopus demo, I'm wondering if there are any questions. Vicky, maybe we could pause for a minute and see if there are any questions, or if people want to put some questions into the chat.
So there's no questions currently, but we'll give it another half a minute to see if anybody does have questions up to this point.
Okay, so while I'm doing that, maybe I'll switch we can work on switching our screen over. And okay. Okay, I can see your screen. Hopefully everybody else can too, Vicky.
I hope so. Oh, can you see Google?
I can see Google. Hopefully everybody else can.
So now we have a couple. Yep, now we have a couple of questions that are coming through. So one of the questions is, can I set up an author alert in the Library search site? Marie,
Do you want
did
to
you want
answer
to
that
answer
one,
that one?
Vicki?
The answer would be yes, you can. But our recommendation would probably be to use one of the databases, just because with the authors that we have in the libraries, sometimes it doesn't include every single thing that that author may have published. And I don't think it takes into account the alternative names that that person might publish in.
Yes, I would agree. And the library search also is primarily for the information that we have access to. So if an author is publishing in a journal that we don't carry, then you would be missing that article.
Okay, so another question that has come in, what would you consider to be too many articles within the database search strategy? That is a great question. And when I'm doing my demo here of Scopus, I will try to address that question as well.
I think it's whatever you feel you're going to be able to spend time looking at, for one thing. And also, if there are a lot of irrelevant articles, whenever you do your search and you're finding lots of things that really don't apply, then you might want to focus it as well, so you don't waste too much time going through the alert. But maybe you'll have some other tips when you do your demo, Vicki.
Yep. And another question, a person is using CINAHL database. Can they set up alerts in CINAHL?
I'm pretty sure you can. That's, I think, on EBSCOhost, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure you can. If maybe, Vicki, you could take note of the name, we could also email instructions to that person that asked the question.
Yep, absolutely. I am jotting that down right now so not to forget. Okay, so as you can see, I am got my Google page up. I am using Chrome, so your web browser may look a little bit different. You'll notice for me that with my Chrome, I've got it connected to my Gmail. And one of the reasons I have that is because I use a lot of bookmarks. And if I'm signed into my Gmail on Chrome, if I now sign into a different computer and I've got multiple computers, then these bookmarks I can have access to. So basically we'll back up my bookmarks into the cloud. You'll also notice that I have a little grayed out stack of papers here, and that's the library access that Marie mentioned earlier about. So my first step will be to go to the library's webpage. So again, I have it bookmarked just because I use it so frequently. And some people think that they can search the database name in this search box. You can't. You'll find articles, books, journals. If you search the title of the database here, you do have to go to the database's A to Z button. So Marie mentioned that the databases, we've got a lot of them. So currently 672 different databases. If you don't know which databases are in your subject area, we do have this drop-down menu, which allows you to go to your interest, and it shows you the number of databases that are suggested by the librarian. If I go to biochemistry, here you will see who the liaison librarian is for that subject area. and the databases that they suggest. If you do know the name of your database, you can use the search box. So I am going to go to Scopus. Scopus is a database we pay for, and oftentimes it will tell us a little bit note here underneath. So if you are using Safari, as it says, it has limited functionality. So recommended for Firefox or Google Chrome primarily. So with any of these databases, they'll ask you to log in. The other thing is to create any of these alerts, you do have to have an account. Scopus is owned by Elsevier, so if some of you are using the software Mendeley for your citation management, you already have an account with Scopus. So you can use that same email address and password to log into Scopus. You'll see that I'm already logged in because you have my initials here on the side. There are the search box that comes up here. You can show right away some of your limits. I am going to be using a search. I'm using the topic COVID-19 because a lot of people are interested in some of the recent research. I took another webinar with a different database, and they mentioned that there are a lot of different synonyms for it. So COVID-19 is the one that probably most people are familiar with. There's 2019 nCoV, SARS, and there's also COVID-2. So what this will do is it will search for all these words at the same time. And using the or, I'm saying I would like to see an article with COVID-19 or the word this term or the term this or the term that. If I wanted to see COVID-19 and 2019 nCoV, then I would change this to and as opposed to or. Right now, I'm searching for this keyword in the article title, abstract, and other keywords. The dropdown does have a lot of different options. So if you're finding that you're getting a lot of results, you could potentially just search for the keyword in the article title or perhaps the abstract. One of the things that's similar to the library site is these refines that are on the left-hand side of the screen. So we've got different access types, different years. Not surprising with this COVID-19 that in 2020, we're seeing the most publications. We're also seeing authors. So this top author here has published 46. We're also seeing subject areas. So if you are in a particular area and you want your COVID-19 information in there, that's when I would perhaps use this. So let me see if I can do my limit. Still running. Document type will get into articles. There's also book chapters, conference proceedings, many different items on Scopus. So Marie, did you want to mention any other types of refines that a person might want to use?
Well, I was going to mention that you could refine by language, although I don't know if it still might be good to find out what other people are working on in another area, even if it isn't in English, because the result that you get back will be an English, like the title will be translated into English, and there should be an English abstract, so at least you can see what other people are doing. But that would be one possibility, although, as I say, you might still be interested in learning a little bit about it. We could also add a different keyword into our search to narrow the search down. So like if we're interested in vaccines, for instance, then we could add in the term vaccine into our search. I don't know why it's so slow here, if we could do that as an example or not, but that would be another option, to be narrowing it with some additional terms.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back and edit because a question has come in about the difference between the and or operators. So let's see if it will let me go back. Okay, so this goes back into here. So this time I'm actually going to put all my terms on the same line. So or is used for synonyms. So similar words, so maybe variations. So for instance, if you have a term like social, you may be wanting to look for specific terms about social. Maybe it's social interaction. Maybe it's could be a variety of things. But the or operator is used for between synonyms, so similar words. The and operator is when I want to see this word and, so Marie mentioned vaccine and vaccine in the same article. So what this search will do for me right now is that I should see in my results COVID-19 and the word vaccine, or 2019 nCoV and vaccine. So it will pull up all these results. So if you recall, with my previous search, I had over 8,000 results. Now I'm just under 1,000. So to set alert, if I'm happy with this, near the top is set alert. So it's got a little bell icon. So the set alert would allow me to get email updates when newer records in Scopus meet these criteria I put in for my topic alert. The save is saving my search. So it's different in the fact that it saves it, but it will not email me to let me know when new things arrive. Okay, so that's for a topic. You can also do authors. We mentioned that earlier. So I'm gonna search for a University of Manitoba researcher, so in the Department of Microbiology. So it will provide us with a list of authors who are the same name. Sometimes you'll find that there are people, researchers in different parts of the world who have the same name. So you do have to check what their affiliation is, sometimes the country. So this is the person I'm interested in. So I do have to click on their name. And my alerts are on the right-hand side. So the set document alert, as it says here, is where I would receive emails when this author publishes new articles. So this is if I want to keep up with certain individuals. The set citation alert. So if this had been me and I want to be alerted, sent an email when somebody has cited one of my documents, that's the alert I would want to set. And if I continue down, I can see the different documents here. This is sorted from date newest, but I can change the sort. So maybe I want their most highly cited article. So that's here. So I'll click on it to show the third option, which is to set an alert for a specific article. So here's the information about the article, abstract, and near the right-hand side, inform me when this document is cited in Scopus. So that's the set citation alert. The set citation feed would be slightly different. It goes more into the social, it goes into the RSS feed. So there are some slides information that we have at the end of the PowerPoints that talk more about RSS feeds. So if I actually go to set citation alert, so hopefully this will load up for me. So you can say document citation alert. So the document, I can give a specific name here. And it's also allowing me to put in more than just my email address. So maybe Marie is also interested in staying alert. Oh. So I can put in that email address. So as it says, separate multiple email addresses by a semicolon, comma, space, or enter, whichever one. It also allows me to say how frequently I would like to be notified by email. So I could be just notified every month. Which days of the week? So if there's a particular day that I check for new articles being published, then I can do that from here. And the status would be the fact that active would mean that they're actively sending me emails, and inactive would be that they're not sending me emails. Maybe I just want to set this as inactive right now, but maybe in a month's time I can go back and actually set it up as active. So if I'm going to go, so it says here, my alert has been created. I can view my alerts, all the different types of alerts I have. So I can see here, these are my alerts for different topics. I've got some of these as active, some of these as inactive. And this also allows me to check for new results on my topics. So if I had one of these inactive ones, I could just run the search right now and see what is new. So here's one of the author's citation alerts I had set up, saved in 2017. I'm just going to change that to inactive. And the document citation alerts, so the one that I had just set up. Marie, did you want to add anything else about the Scopus demo?
I think that's covered things pretty well. Are we ready to switch back to the rest of the my slides here?
Yes, I can change the presenter.
Okay, can you see my slides now?
I
Vicky?
can.
Okay,
Yes.
hopefully everybody else can too. Okay, these slides here just kind of go over what Vicky just showed us so that you have something that you can follow on your own. And this slide includes some how-to videos on setting up alerts in PubMed, EBSCOhost, and Google Scholar. And I'll be talking a little bit about Google Scholar for the last few minutes. We've just run through some stuff very quickly. But if the database that you are using isn't listed on here, then contact, and you can't figure out how to create an alert, please let Vicky or I know, and we'll be glad to help you out. So you can cancel these alerts at any time by signing into your account and unsubscribing, or maybe it might be called deleting or inactivating the alert. So, you know, you don't have to keep them if you are done with the alert, or you find that you want to modify it, you can delete it and then start over again. You can also create alerts in Google Scholar and Google, and the difference is in Google Scholar, there aren't as many search options. So you can't, it's a little bit harder to refine your search. But it is possible to create an alert. You would do a search, and on the actual left-hand side of the Google Scholar, you will see this create alert and this envelope icon. So after you've done your search, you can click create alert, and it will ask you for your email address, and then you just set it up. You don't have to create an account. To cancel the alert, you would go to wait for an email to arrive, and there's an option to cancel from the email that you receive if you want. But as I say, the search options are more limited in Google Scholar. You can also create citation alerts in Google Scholar. If you find an article that you want to have an alert for, you can click on this cited by, and there'll be a number like 20 people or 200. You click on that link, and then you should, on the left-hand side of the Google Scholar page, you should see a create alert option, and you can create an alert from that as well. So the Google Scholar citations may find different citations than the Scopus citations. They will find some of them the same, but you may find some different ones. You can also find some researchers have created a Google Scholar profile page, and you can create alerts for any updates to those pages as well. So you would search the author in your Google Scholar, and if they have a profile page, it should be at the very top of the results page. And then you would find their profile, click on their profile page, and then you should see the option to follow the author, and you can be alerted to any new articles by the author, any new citations, or any articles related to the author's research.
Marie, I'm just going to jump in momentarily.
Okay.
So there is a question about using the Google Scholar Advanced option.
Oh, yes.
Did you want to talk a little bit more what that Advanced Google Scholar allows you to do or has?
Well, the advanced option allows you to do, you could put in that you want the words only in the title, that you want, well, what other options are there, Vicky? Can you remember?
There is the option for a specific author. you have the option for a specific range of years that you can do with it. If you're looking for the advanced Google Scholar, one of the fastest ways to get to it is when you go into Google, you type in advanced Google Scholar, and it will pull that up, and it will pull up a form for you to fill out. It also says maybe you want certain words not to appear in the article. So it has a line for that as well.
Yes. So the advanced Google Scholar is a little bit better than the basic Google Scholar, but it still doesn't have as many search features as the database search. So it's worthwhile looking at the advanced, but it still doesn't have as many features. Any other questions related to Google Scholar there, Vicki?
Not right now. Somebody
Okay.
was asking about setting up citation alerts on Google Scholar, but I believe we have answered that one.
Okay. I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to just go quickly through some other options for Google Alerts. So if you are researching something that is more, you're trying to keep track of something that's more popular in nature, not necessarily scholarly literature, but news or blogs, you can create a general Google alert, and there is a web page. It's www.google.ca/alerts, and you can sign up for alerts on different topics. So I could do a search for, say, National Microbiology Laboratory and find out anything that comes out of the news related to that particular laboratory. So that's another option, but this is more for the popular information. And again, I just showed here how you can cancel an alert. And as I mentioned, there is an option to use RSS feeds, and the RSS feed symbol is shown on the top of this screen. It's kind of orange, and that, whenever you see that, that means that you can do an RSS alert. But we're not really covering very many details on that. If you want more information about RSS feed readers, I found a blog link with some of the more popular reader apps that you can look at on your own. Before I finish up, I did see one question in the chat that I thought I'd cover. It was related to whether or not you need to do these alerts if you have a Mendeley, have Mendeley and you're getting some alerts through Mendeley. And I'd say it would be worthwhile setting up an alert, because you can control what you want to be alerted on. Mendeley kind of looks at what you're reading. We don't really know the exact algorithm that's being used, and you're also relying on whoever is using Mendeley. So maybe there's some researchers working on a project, but they don't use Mendeley and they don't upload their papers to Mendeley. So then you may be missing some of the papers on that topic. So I'd say it's worthwhile. You can always cancel it if you find that it's duplicating a lot, but it might be worthwhile doing both. So just to summarize, you can keep current with research by setting up the alerts. You set it up, and then you can just wait for an email to arrive. As long as your search strategy is good, you'll be alerted whenever the database updates the information or the table of contents is updated, etc. So if you have any questions, I know that we're a little bit out of time, so if you want to stay and ask a few questions, I think that we can still keep going. I'm not sure when the webinar software will cut us off, but if not, make sure you should be able to get our slides from the presentation, and you can also go to the library's YouTube channel and access the presentation, maybe with, might take 3 or 4 days to put up the presentation there. Vicky's contact information and my contact information are on the screen here. You can also email us or phone us, and we'll be glad to help you out. So, Vicky, did you want to add anything else? Or you see any other questions?
No, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. This is the first time I'm doing an online webinar, so thank you very much. And I know this is the second time Marie has, so we really appreciate you attending today. And again, if you want to view a recording of this in the next week, it should be posted to the library's YouTube channel. Thank you.